Yeah, that looks like about it.
Welcome back to Digibest, guys. This is the final four locals of the week. I am in this one playing Green Control, and my opponent here on the left, you'll remember him playing the Gabumon Bond. Back to back, he has come into the finals of locals, going from second to first and coming up to me again. Well, this is my first time being in the finals for locals in a while, considering I am playing some pretty experimental decks here. Green Control, of course, is a very budget build and not necessarily a tier 1 contender in my opinion, but definitely something that you might expect if you go into a locals or even a wider tournament, considering you could go into a very wide variety of decks there. So my opponent does what Gabumon Bond does, smack him with a bunch of rookies, getting my security midway through, already on turn 2 on his side. So board presence is the aim of the game here, removing the Gabumon so you can't bond them later. This is a minor... I make a couple of mistakes in this gameplay here. I think the better, looking back in hindsight, I think the better approach for me to handle Bond is to hold my Digimon on my field and not hit into security, because the more I hit into security, the more things I might end up giving him for free, such as the mat from the security that he got for free, and now he's got potentially Gabumon Bond next turn. And here again, I hit into security and reveal a Cordramon. That is a little bit nasty. So if I just held my Digimon on my field and not attacked until I've amassed lethal, then that might have been better. But being not so familiar with the matchup, I generally just do what green does, which is slowly chip away at security, trying to amass advantage. So he goes into Gabumon Bond here. This is pretty risky. He needs to have, because I have one block here, but the block can be flushed away with the Gabumon Bond, which is what's happening now. Then the Gabumon Bond can unsuspend. He needs to see some Hammer Sparks and the Lobomon to get lethal here. Otherwise, I have lethal next turn, considering that my opponent has no security. So he might... I've only got one security left with this hit. And then if he's got a Hammer Spark plus Gabumon plus the Lobomon, then it's game, but unfortunately he does not. He was hoping to draw into it with the while going into the Bond. So luckily I take game 1 there. Game 2, my opponent will go first. This is generally good for him, considering he runs a lot of rookies, so he's very likely to see those rookies to get a good head start. So he doesn't necessarily need the consistency that other decks do that needs to scale up line. And it gets him the tempo advantage of being able to draw the right combo pieces that he needs in order to get into the Gabumon Bond. Tempo is very important in the Gabumon Bond deck. So here I set up a blocker to hopefully deter my opponent from doing that rookie rush approach that he did last turn. Which I do. I keep my security nice and safe while he sets up 3 rookies for me to potentially Nihogmon. But I don't have access to it, unfortunately. I hard play the Lilamon here because I want to keep my blockers out. And I think I have the Ancient Troymon or another Mega in my hand that I can evolve over the Lilamon for to start putting pressure on. So he's just trying to draw into his combo pieces, trying to find the mat. He put 2 mats in the bottom of the deck at the start of the game, I think. When he went into the... That's right, he went into the Davis, saw 2 mats and a memory booster, and that did not help him out at all. But he did see the mat after drawing into it from the Cordramon. My opponent should have started on 3 memory here with the Davis, which would have meant he would have been on 0 when he played the mat, but I guess we were just not paying attention to that, unfortunately. So I've got a good combo here with the Ancient Troymon and the blocker. With those two in particular, my opponent needs to hit with 4 Digimon in order to even hit 1 security. With the hidden potential on the Chaosmon, I can wipe 2 guys off the board, and then I can, because I'm missing my blocker and my Ancient Troy, I go back into an Ancient Troy, evolving over the blocker with my Blossomon. And my opponent is nicely sitting on 6 memory here, so he can V-Wing that Ancient Troymon back to my hand. I went into the Chaosmon here because the Chaosmon, he has no way to remove that card. His usual outs for spot removal are the Gabumon Bond and the V-Wings, and both those cards can't touch a level 7 Digimon. So Gabumon Bond here. Gabumon will draw into no hits, no tamers, put that Hammerspark in the bottom of the deck here. So we see a Hammerspark in the trash and 1 in the deck there. Unfortunately, this is the one way to remove the Chaosmon. Chaosmon hitting into a Gabumon Bond will kill it, giving me 3 memory. That's a little bit unfortunate. So I see he can potentially go into a Bond next turn. So I want to set up the Ancient Troymon again here, considering I have it in my hand. Or I can Nihogmon, and that will wipe away all the threats too. So now I have 3 hits on board. He's got 3 security. And now that he put the Electmon there, he can't evolve into the Gabumon Bond from the nursery there. So he hard plays it. Potentially he can swing with 2 of them, and then 1 with the Electmon, and then since he starts on 3 memory, he can go into a Lobomon next turn. So either I need to go for game, or I need to remove the Gabumon Bond, or I need to set up an Ancient Troy. So I am a very aggressive player, so of course I am attempting to draw into the Mimi, but no Mimi unfortunately. So I go into a Rafflesia here, which can use its effect to beat over the Gabumon Bond here. And by removing the Gabumon Bond, he shouldn't be able to go for game next turn because he won't have enough bodies. So I pump up all my guys and smack into security. Running right into the Quadramon, unfortunately. Now he can still potentially threaten lethal. So I'm getting rid of the rest of his security, and I pump out a big blocker. Now what he has to do is, to do this, he needs exactly V-Wing Blade plus, because he should actually be at 2, considering he shouldn't have gained that memory off the mat, considering he was bringing out an Electmon. But he needs Hammersparks and Lobomons in order to push for game here. And considering that I saw 1 in the trash and 1 in the bottom of the deck, he needs to have both Hammersparks in his hand. He's not going to have it. Actually, I think he needs 3 Hammersparks, and that's just not going to be it. So, pretty safe wrap up. I could have just hard played the Ancient Troy, and that would have secured me game, because to remove the Ancient Troy, he would have to V-Wing it, and that would end his turn. But this was still a safe play, considering I went aggressive. So this should just wrap up game. And my opponent has pretty much scooped at this point. If you guys want to check out the deck profile for this one, I'll have it listed up on the channel tomorrow. Otherwise, you can check out another game I did against Gallantmon. And I'll be taking this locals. See you guys.